Okay.
Pronto.
Hey, there we are.
Olá. Hello, everybody. So let's start. Some of you might already know me because I'm an Nupel teacher. Some of you are my students at Nupel already. So today we are going to talk about strategies for autonomous learning. Okay. And to help me, we have Rafa Skylink here. Say hi, Rafa.
Hi, nice to meet all of you. Although it's been a long time since I talked in English, so I'm kind of like a little bit rusty. It's actually been 5 years since I stopped teaching,
Oh, it's a long
so
time.
a really long time.
Uh, okay. We wanted to make this topic here and bring to Nepal because basically we know that most of the students right now are having some difficulties to define how they are going to study, how they can manage their time, and what tools they can use in order to improve their experiences learning. We just want to go through it and our experience with learning the language itself. Okay,
Mhm.
so Rafa, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience with the language?
Hmm. I'm
Like,
kind of an accident in relation to the English because when I started, I was 17 years old and I didn't know anything. I just thought, well, I want to learn English and I'm gonna pick up a dictionary and I'm gonna try letras and like I guess in 6 months I can do it. And so I passed vestibular, but once I entered, after those 6 months with my little dictionary and try to translate things from songs and stuff like that, uh, I found out that I was nowhere near the level I needed to be speaking in English at the same time. Like uh, that I was thinking and communicating and expressing myself. So I basically had to start relearning everything once again once I got in. And I remember that in my proficiency test, I placed in intermediary, and then I didn't want to go to the class. I dropped out. I took basic German, and I spent another 6 months studying German, English, and Latin because
is the
we had to.
military.
And then I took the proficiency test once again 6 months later. After that, I was placed in the upper level after upper. I don't remember exactly,
The
but
advanced one.
yeah,
Nowadays we call it advanced there.
yeah. The professors at the time were like, "What the hell did you do? What happened? You improved so much in 6 months. You were barely speaking before." And the most basic thing that I did, besides practicing every day, was keeping on having fun. Like there was a friend of mine called Noemi that I talked every single day when I was going to the university. And like uh, since I had never talked to anybody before, my growth level skyrocketed because I had the opportunity to practice with somebody who was with a higher level,
Mhm.
and she was very patient. Everything that I didn't know, she explained to me, like how to do the th sound and all those small details that end up making a real difference when you're trying to become more fluent.
Mhm.
Um, but well, besides that, I also try to focus myself not on doing drills and grammar stuff, but actually on reading and translating things on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
So translation really helped me to visualize how I could expand my way of thinking, how I could not get so attached to just one form of expressing myself. Like when you're translating, you're basically doing a kind of recreation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the beginning, you're like trying to go word for word, and that just doesn't work. So that's why I brought a little challenge for us today and for the
Oh,
people in the
great.
chat. But
So,
is there anybody over there? Can we get a response?
Marta Cordolino is there
Ah,
already. But I think the activities that you can do, we can make it later after we start talking about the tools that we can use.
ah,
Okay?
okay, not a problem.
All right. Now, talking a little bit about my experience. Actually,
Mm,
I wasn't an accident as you were, and it's because I am a game fanatic. Like, really,
mm,
my my teenage years, they were based on gaming. I could not be a single day without playing a video game. And by the time there was no localization industry, the localization industry itself, and to everybody watching here, localization is the specific translation for video games. We do not only translate, we have to do a whole process to adapt the game into the country, its culture and memes and so on. So it is called localization. Now going back,
my job.
yeah, Rafa's job, and I'm going to get there.
Sure.
And by the time, I think the only game that was already translated was Habu, but I really didn't like playing Habu because it is just another way of being on social media. And I really wanted to play like those ones with fairies and stories and talk to other people without feeling like I'm must to, you know? And so I kept growing up until I reached the 13 years. When I was 13 years old, I discovered the singer. No, yeah, I discovered the video game, and I'm going to share my screen here so everybody can see the game that I'm talking about. Okay, all right. So the first game in English that I played at the time was Adventure Quest Worlds. Nowadays, it already has a translation, a localization to Portuguese, but it's very basic because the game is easy. The game is very easygoing, and is most of the part of the English language that I got through this game was just basic vocabulary to playing MMORPGs. I was starting to feel that I was really, really liking this kind of games. But I grew older and I was like between my 14 years old and my 15 years old, I discovered Perfect World. And Perfect World already has and already had at the time a localization to Portuguese, and it has a Brazilian server, but the one responsible for the game here in Brazil was, how can I say it, not very into taking care of the community, and this is stuff of the time, so it is just water under the bridge. And turns out that I really love to play a race on the game, the Mystics one, and I was all the time looking on other servers to see the upcoming updates. And the PWE, the Perfect World International, was the one that was really ahead of the time of the game in Brazil. So I started to do the process of translating some news about the game and about the class that I played into Portuguese and posted on the Perfect World Brazil forum. And turns out that I started to be the mystic tutor. Basically, I was a teacher inside of the game, and I had to teach the other players how to play well the class. And sometimes I took some players from Brazil and brought them into the Perfect World International so we could practice together so they can talk to other people. And at the time I was doing a interpreter job. And since it wasn't allowed for children and teenagers to have jobs, it was a voluntary process. Okay. Then the game industry evolved a little bit more, and the communication tools evolved as well. And at the time, we had Discord, which is a communication tool. We can do video calls, we can do voice chats. And then I started to play Terra, and Terra was at the time a very popular, a very crowded game where tons and tons of players all the time. The guilds on the game were really, really crowded. And it was very nice for me because I already knew how to translate a little bit, at least I thought that I knew how to translate. And but I didn't know at all how to speak because my family didn't have the money to pay an English course for me. So I had to taught myself all the way until here. And Terra was the first time that I could talk to someone in English. And it was the first time that I had the experience of knowing that English is not only the Netflix English, that English is not only the British English, that English has a plethora of Englishes that we have around the world. I had connections with people in Nigeria, I had connections with people in Canada, in Australia, even here in South America, not the Brazilians and some Argentinians. And it was nice for me because at the time, and although my way of speaking is more likely to a American inflection, I understood that English is more than just the American way, and English, North American way, just the North American way, and English is not the British way. We have a lot of ways to go into the language. And after I played the games, and now I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. After I played the games, well, no, after no, because I still playing video games. I was
But
16 years
you're
old.
gonna see that when you start like translating for 5 or 10 years, in my case, like you don't have much time to play games anymore. It's kind of a
Yeah,
problem.
we are
You spend too much
basically,
time translating and time for playing the game. Actually, except when you're a tester. But being a tester is a horrible job. Like you have to play the same game again and again and again when the game is not complete.
yeah,
So the graphics are not that good. There are moments that the game freezes,
there are
and
glitches.
yeah, there are glitches and some stuff just doesn't work. So being a tester is like uh, something that I really admire people who are capable of. By the way, one of my friends is actually working on Rockstar right now. So
Oh,
she started like working with me in 2012, I guess, in the localization of Dying Light. And then after that, she got into Electronic Arts in Spain, probably. And I guess in 2016, she moved to the United Kingdom to work for Red Dead Redemption. So
uh,
she got her name in the credits. It's
that's really
really cool.
nice. Hmm. Wow.
In my case,
Uh,
the only game I got my name in the credits is Arma 3.
Actually, the Casero games, they put my name there. So I'm studying. I really want to be on the industry. So yeah, doing my way. Uh, then after playing and while playing video games, I finished the high school, and it was the time to move into college. And I really didn't know what to do at the time because at school I was really good at chemistry. Although I hate math, I was really, really good at chemistry, and I was really, really good at English. So I was divided. Am I going to do something related to chemistry, or am I going to do something related to English? Because they were both my passions.
One of
Uh,
one of our best teachers, Letras, was actually she graduated in chemistry. She used to be the professor of noun phrase. So I
wow.
think the two are strangely really connected for the best teachers ever. So you got a really bright future for sure.
Yeah, I hope so. uh,
I'm
li-
100% sure.
Thank you. Literally, I was approved into UFBA. I tried the pharmacology course and I was approved in 2018.1. I took some time, like I finished high school in the very end of 2016, and I was like, okay, nice. Now I'm gonna take some time for myself. I don't want to study anymore because my whole high school years were about studying and only studying. I did not do parties. I did not do anything related to relaxing besides playing video games. And I wanted to stop and to have time for myself. Then I studied to do an A and so on. And in 2018, I tried UFBA and I got into I was approved actually to do the pharmacology, but I did not want to do it. At the time, I was having really hard struggle with my family because it was the time that I admitted that I told them that I'm gay, and so everybody was like, "Oh, you don't want to do anything of your life. You just want to screw it up, and you're going to throw yourself under the bridge." And I was like, "You wanna know what? I can do this." And I was approved on Alphabet, and then everybody just shut up and I was okay. Now I can decide what am I going to do. And on the day of the enrollment, I did not want to go. I was like, no, I won't go. I will not do this. I will take more time for myself to think. And nowadays, I'm happy that I did not enroll at pharmacology. And I wait a little bit more to enroll on letras. And on 2008.2, I was approved on letras and I started to do the graduation. But at the time, we had the strike, that very huge strike on OFPA that changed the whole academic calendar. And we only started at November. So that whole year, I only dedicated myself into studying English. And when I got into UFBA, I did the first levels of like I did the elementary level because I was thinking like, oh, the elementary level in a federal university is going to be hard, really, really hard. And turns out that it wasn't. And I was like, okay, I think they're not going to be doing these classes anymore. But let's see if the intermediate one is better. And it wasn't. It was a nightmare because the teacher did not like
Okay.
me and she made me flunk on her subject because I helped the students studying and she did not like me to help them to study. So she made me flunk on the subject. Then I was like, wanna know what? I'm going to do the placement test. And I just skipped the whole three levels that we have of English in Nova. So I was, okay, I'm allowed to study and I will keep studying here.
Mhm.
And now I'm here. I was a prophecy teacher on the Felipe
Me too.
Kupski. Yeah, nice. Basically, prophecy and Nopal are the ones I want to keep the track on being teachers and translators and follow this scholar slash academic life, is going to Proficia and Nopal first. And now I'm at Nopal. I'm a teacher here, and I'm a teacher in other places too. So we are here basically to help you guys.
It's kind of funny in my case because I sort of had this bouncing thing about careers too, because I got into letras for fun. I wasn't expecting to become a teacher. I just like, I want to learn English and then do something else. And then after 2 years, I guess, I passed into law and I started doing law in UFBA. At the same time, I passed for the master's in translation and accessibility. But the thing is that even after passing law, I never really got into it. So letras kind of sucked me into a whole into a wormhole of translating stuff and teaching and translating and working. And then I spent like 5 years teaching and another 10 translating. And after all this time, I just find myself now like learning about programming and Python. So it's really funny, like how you find things that you really enjoy unexpectedly.
Yeah.
You you don't really know before. You just know when you do it.
Yeah.
That's a really nice advice for our viewers. Like, don't try to search for a perfect method. Just go for it and experiment with everything you can.
Yeah. And
And by the way, try to download as many extensions as you can. For example, Google Translate, there is a browser extension that you can just click on a word and then pops up a translation from the word, right?
mhm.
And if you're reading stuff on the web, it's much faster to do that than actually grabbing a dictionary and looking up a word and wasting all the time with that.
You could just have spent doing the reading. Yeah. I really think that how can I say, the canonic ways that we know of learning the language only through courses and only through finding a native that speaks the language and finding a foreigner that speaks the language are the way of learning. And no, it doesn't work like this. I actually know.
Finding a foreigner is sort of complicated because when you don't have a face-to-face contact, it's much harder to get into a deeper and meaningful relationship with
Mhm,
that person, like making it become a true friendship and having time and a consistent schedule. So I guess it's probably easier to learn if you practice with people that are close to you, that you can talk consistently, and actually to take advantage of all the media that you have on YouTube, on movies, on Netflix, right?
mhm.
And
Yeah.
another thing is that it really helps to focus on pronunciation, like the way you're connecting the words. It's not a matter of just like speaking perfectly or something like that, but actually making the words connect into a chain of thought that the ideas that you want to express, they just flow naturally.
Mhm.
And the more you practice, the more you get used to just do it. You start not thinking about how you're gonna construct the sentences or anything you want to express. You just talk.
Yeah. You just
So
start doing it.
in a crazy sort of way, we learn to not learn. You know,
We
we learn to forget. I guess that's the biggest advice that I can give about English. You have to understand the concepts, you have to internalize, but when you're speaking, you have to put it into a background chamber on your brain. Just put it there, leave it there. Don't talk to it. Don't rationalize. Don't overthink. Just talk.
yeah, because we do not do this in Portuguese. It's our mother tongue, and we do not think like,
Uh,
okay, so we need to put the verb here, we need to
and
put the adjective here.
we do it when we are in an awkward situation, like when you're trying to speak to people that are really important and you don't feel comfortable. Then you stutter and you try to fit in.
Mm,
So it's like we have those sort of similar situations, but in a lesser level. You know, it's not so strange as the difference between one language and another one.
mhm. So now that everybody already knows us and our pathway into the language, I want to, before studying the tools here to help you guys and the strategies, I want to talk to you about three main concepts, okay? As a teacher and the studying that I'm doing in order to improve myself on the teaching way, I learned the three concepts. We have students, okay? We have the autonomous students, and we have the self-taught ones, okay? And basically, these are kind of levels of people and how they use the learning process and how they can learn something. Some people, they are just students and they are there waiting for the teacher and they want to know it from the teacher. They need to have this imagery of someone that's going to bring them the knowledge or something, not a person, a tool that's going to bring them the knowledge, that's going to place the knowledge there, and they are going to understand this new knowledge by this person or this program. And the autonomous students are the ones that's going to mix both the presence of a teacher or a tool and their own will. And as far as I'm concerned, the autonomous students are the ones that can find a motivation into what they are learning. It is very common between students that they do not have a motivation. They tend to be the teenagers and the adults because the students are like, I'm here doing this because I have to do this because someone forced me to do this.
Mhm.
And it's really sad for teacher to see someone just doing this, and it's really sad for the person because they don't have this connection to what they're learning, and it's not just jeopardize the experience on the language and everything else. Like if you're doing something just because it's mandatory, if you're doing something that you don't like, just because you have to do it to earn more money or to be at somewhere, you're not going to be motivated enough. And the autonomous students are the ones that can find a way and find a motivation to something. My motivation was that I wanted to be a well-known gamer in the gamer world. And nowadays, because of my years trying to learn the language, because of my years being around and trying to be with people, connecting to someone, my nickname, Davina, is pretty known, and now it's doing its way on the translation. And most of my students that now are really, really doing good, and then they are like skyrocketing on their learning processes are the ones that were autonomous and the ones that were motivated.
Mm.
And motivation doesn't have to be like I need this language because it is the most important thing of my life. No, it can be a really dumb thing. One of my dumb, a lot of aspas here. One of my students, she wanted to learn the language because she wanted to understand the beauty guru that she liked. And She really spends her time now watching Tati videos on YouTube, and now she can understand what a face mask is, what a eyeliner is, what a moisturizer is, and so on and so forth. And it started with something that we think that is not enough to learn the language, but for her it worked. And now she's doing great. She's trying to do her path on the language by starting using the beauty community one.
Mhm.
And I had other student that she just wanted to learn more to take care of her pets. And she wanted to know about otters because she wanted to adopt an otter.
Mhm.
And now she's really doing great on the language. I think that she's basically on B2 level. It started just by, okay, I want to take care of my pets and I will feel learn the language to read articles because I want and see it wasn't something that it is my life. I have to do this because English is almost a religion and you cannot survive on the new world without learning another language. No, it
Yeah,
was a,
that's basically why I used to joke that you shouldn't study. Like studying is bad. Studying is something really boring most of the time. So the way to learn a language is basically having fun. You have fun and you set goals. Like you have to do this, and that to get there.
Mhm.
So the idea of studying is not really learning things because you need to memorize stuff, but it's a way of making it easier for you to get where you want to be.
Yep.
Be it like understanding a movie, understanding a soap opera, understanding a cartoon, anything that you want to do, no matter how big or how small. You set a goal and you just work on it step by step. If you have to understand the concept of grammar, okay, you do it. But it's not something that, oh, today I'm gonna learn this concept of grammar because it's important. No, just learn stuff when it seems necessary. It's like not to learn stuff and then after that you go to the real world to find things that are challenging. No, you first go there, you find things that are challenging, and then you go back and say, okay, now I'm gonna have to learn this, and that. It's basically the way I'm studying Python right now. So
Yep.
this thought process really makes everything a lot more enjoyable and
Yeah.
helps me like not forget the basic concepts because
Mm.
most people that I see studying English, uh, they they do and redo basic courses a lot of times. Like they spend 6 months in Akibel and then then I that another 6 months in CDA and in Flux and whatever. And some people, not all people, they just can't get into it. So no matter how much they learn, because they learn at that moment, they perform in an exam and stuff like that. Uh, this knowledge doesn't stick. It doesn't become something that's part of themselves. And if you actually go into researches about languages, when you really internalize a language, it keeps talking to you all the time. It's like a second voice on your brain.
Mhm.
And it's funny because that's is linked to even to how machine learning works. Like they used to do stuff with frequency lists and trying to figure out, oh, this word appears this much and stuff like that. But then in the most recent models, they just change everything and they try to approach seems more like how people do it, how people think. And the way
Mhm.
people think is like when you have a word, you just go to the next because it seems the most natural thing. So the grammar stuff that you study is not a grammar that you have to remember. It's a grammar that you have to feel in your voice. It happens in Portuguese. When we say something wrong, we automatically correct ourselves or we are corrected by other people. It's the way that children are. Children, they practice, they say things wrong a lot of times until they don't.
Mhm.
So another problem that adult learners have is that they are afraid to make mistakes or to sound stupid. Like, don't be. I sound stupid all the time, and well, I just enjoy it.
Yeah, the fun part of learning is this when you get the mistakes and someone corrects you, but the constructive way of correcting, like not bullying the person because they are still learning, is that you, oh, okay, it's this way. I never thought that it's like that.
Yeah, the problem is that people bully themselves. It's like crazy. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna talk to you because you're a teacher and you're so much better than me, and that's bullshit. Like, uh, there are words that I don't know that you don't know. It's funny because I remember one meeting we had in prophecy, and like everybody was like discussing about students and stuff like that, and they were complaining like, "Oh, sometimes students ask crazy things like how to say banana da terra in English," and I immediately said, "Plantain," because I knew the word, and for me it was familiar. It was like I like cooking and I like researching everything about different names of fruits, vegetables, and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So for me, that was like totally familiar, and, and everybody was like, "What the hell? You were not supposed to say that." And
They
everybody
expect us to
started
just
laughing out loud.
with yeah, and this is a concept that I want everybody that's watching here that is a student. But now, if you don't have, and if you never have had the time to think about what is your motivation with the language, start to think about it because this is really important. Is it shifts the way that you have the relation with the language because when you have something meaningful connecting you to it, it's easier. It is a whole different experience. When I'm actually my actual relationship with English is so strong that when I'm talking about it with my friends, I say that me and English we started just friends when I was a teenager. Then I started dating because the language was so nice to me. I really enjoy to spend time talking. I like to enjoy to spend time like reading and writing. For me, it was like a boyfriend and boyfriend kind of relationship. And
Okay,
now English is my husband that I have to deal with every single
wait,
day. We have
wait,
to do with money and
wait,
so on.
wait,
So
wait, 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 wait.
wait, so say it.
Don't use that concept, please, because that's the way that Voldemort talks, and we are not supposed to talk about him.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna stop.
So we can't do that. Brazil is like having a lot of trouble because of Voldemort, so forget
Oh,
it.
all right.
Forget that conceptual metaphor for now.
Okay, so basically, please start to have a connection with the language. It can be a skincare program, it can be a book, it can be a video game, it can be a song, something that you can really cope with. It can be just like cooking and want to learn recipes from other place, like in English country. You just need to bond. Just find something that you really like. If you have a hobby, try to bond it with the language, and then it is a step ahead, and you are going to be a more autonomous student. And the third concept of student that I talked before was the self-taught ones, like me, the ones that can learn without a teacher, and the ones that have the enough motivation to keep themselves on track to study and to, how can I say it, uh, to have discipline to keep studying, but studying, not studying. Can you tell me, like, you are studying somehow because you're practicing, because you are having the contact, are learning the meanings, but you are not on a book doing grammar, doing drills, trying to correct your pronunciation all the time. Like, you're studying, you're not studying. And I think that those are one of the tools that we are going to talk about here. And we can start now, Rafa. Do you want to start talking about yours?
Oh, wait.
About the
I'm sorry.
tools
I was
of.
I was distracted with my automation stuff.
Okay, all right,
Can you
you're
repeat
spacing
that
out a
again?
little bit. Now we want to start talking about the learning tools. Can you talk about yours that you think that can help the students on improve their contact with the language?
I think the ones we talked about already, like Discord helps a lot. We have a Google extension for dictionary translation stuff. Um, I'd venture to even go into Duolingo because Duolingo for beginners is really something good to get into the mode of practicing every day. But after that, when you're a higher level, I think a memory, yeah, a flashcard memory based uh, tool would be better. So we have Anki as well. Like with Anki, you can do space-time repetition, which is a method that you have card with information, and then you say, okay, I know this. And then this card is repeated after a week. And if you say, okay, again, this card is repeated after a month. So you basically cram everything of knowledge that you want by in repeating it into longer stretches of time. It's a very uh, trending method right now. There are some teachers that really enjoy using that on the internet. Although I think that it's not enough. Like, still, to become really fluent, you still have to talk. You have to talk it out, to feel the language, and to get the, the flow,
Mm-hmm.
the intonation, the, uh, the vowels, how each word connects with every other word in the sentences, and how they actually modify themselves. Like when one word gets connected to another, it doesn't just change those two words, but changes the structure of the whole sentence when you speak. That's why it looks like people are talking fast when in fact they are not. Like they are talking normally, but this mechanism of suppression of gooing and stuff like that, they they seem for those outside of the language that they are magic. That stuff just disappears or appears out of nowhere.
Now, some tools that I use for really elementary students, and Dan, if you can help me, or Rafa, if you can help me, write down the YouTube chat so everybody can get it and can somehow search for it later. The first one is Garchik. It sounds like a really stupid tip, but Garchik works as drawing a concept of the word. And this process of thinking about the word and start to have the imagery of the word inside of your head and drawing it and everybody trying to compete to see who's the one that's going to answer first helps a lot the students to develop the concept of something that they know or they don't know yet. And the ones that cannot guess right the name of the drawing, they are like, oh, okay, it's this. I never thought about it. And it really works for me on elementary students. My private students, I just put everybody on a room on Gartic and like, okay, so everybody's going to practice here, go there, draw, have fun. And when they finish it like half an hour later, everybody's like, oh, it's great, it's a lot of new words, a lot of new concepts. So it's nice. And another tool for elementary ones, the very beginners, is Kahoot. And Kahoot have three ways of doing it. One, at school when during the classes, the teacher brings a pre-made Kahoot, and the students are going to do it inside of the room. We have the homework Kahoot, that I like to call it, is the Kahoot that the teacher is going to prepare and is going to send a link for the students, and they can do it at home by themselves at their time. And they can do it when they have spare time. They can do it like going to take 10 to 15 minutes, and it's going to have the questions that the teacher feels that is on the level of the students. And we also have for the students that want to go even further and to search more Kahoots to do. Kahoot is a open platform, and you can search for other teachers Kahoots and try to answer it because a lot of teachers that use the paid version of Kahoot, they just let their questions be online and you can download it or you can try to enter it somehow and you can answer it by yourselves. So we already have Kartik and we already have Kahoot. Okay. Now for the more intermediate ones that I really recommend is now that you start talking somehow and you start reading somehow. And please do not try to start reading a very thick book like Narnia or try to read something like any Tolkien book, please no. I know Tolkien's book are amazing. Narnia is amazing.
I love
Oh,
talking. Talking. Best author.
he's
He,
amazing.
Frank Herbert, and Eiji Yoshikawa. Three of the best.
They're the best, but for a intermediate student, they're just going to frustrate themselves, like they're going to try to read and they're not going
No,
to.
not at all. It just start by The Hobbit because The Hobbit was for children, so it's really easy to read.
Mhm. No, I mean like there's those books that is easy going, but those ones like more the how can I say it, the complex one because we have the description of the scenery. They are going to get a lot of vocabulary, yeah,
Yeah. Lord of the
but
Rings is for adults. No
yeah,
discussion about that.
I
And
like
as
the.
for adolescents that are really that want to feel like adults,
Mhm.
for those ones, Lord
These
of the
ones
Rings
are going to
is
be
good as
great,
well.
but still their lexicon is not going to be enough to reach there. They can search, yes, they can search. But one thing that like, I can see on my students is when they have a text that has a small amount or a medium amount of words that they don't know, they feel more into learning those words and try to understand the text by that. But
Yeah,
when I
but
have
you
and
have to find a balance. It can't
mhm,
be too difficult, and it can't be that easy. But sometimes, looking at things that are feels word difficult, like that are absurdly complex, it it's helpful because it challenges you. You don't have to get stuck into it, but sometimes just like take a brief look. It's like really good.
Mhm.
It's one way of knowing where your challenges are. So as I said before, like you go to the challenge first, and then if you can't do it, then you go back, and then you
Yeah,
go again.
try to find your balance. So,
Mhm.
as you said, if you try to go to Tolkien, to canonical writers, and you cannot just go back a little bit, go to the short stories. Okay, like there are a lot of short stories online. There are a lot of free short stories online that you can try to read, and their vocabulary is, mm, although it is somehow complex, they're not that complex, and you can
Hey,
understand more, and you start getting those processes of learning and how you're going to read something by a short text that you can do like in a sit. You are having free time on your afternoon, just go there, read a short story. The ones that I really recommend are from Edgar Allan Poe and Shimamanda Adichie. Shimamanda Adichie is really, really, really amazing, and her stories are more prone to black characters and to the view of a black person of the world. So try to do it. And my recommendation of a really, 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 really good short story is My Mother, the Crazy African. It's really funny. We have a ton of vocabulary there that you can learn. Cooking vocabulary, have the every single day vocabulary, the home vocabulary,
yeah,
all of it in 13 pages. Oh, say Rafa.
actually, I have a really good advice on this because the one book that you should read is the book you've read before. That's it. It doesn't matter if it's Tolkien or Edgar Allan Poe or anything, if it's easy or complex. If you've read it in Portuguese before, you can do it in English, and you're gonna understand some sentences, and you get the flow of the story, and then you can follow on. No matter how complex if it's too complicated, the description of the scenery, you just skip it and go to the next paragraph. Like a lot of people, they usually get stuck because they don't skip enough. They don't just keep going and going. They get like, oh, I need to understand this because if I don't understand, it's gonna be the end of the world. So just keep
Hmm.
going. If you know the story already, everything is gonna be fine. It will be a happy ending.
Yeah. You don't need to
Or
know
not
the
if it's a
whole.
tragic one. Anyway.
Yeah. If it is, how can I say it? You don't need to know the whole scenery. You don't need to know every single detail of the scenery to understand the story. So you can do it. Just skip. Now, for the speaking and listening, I really recommend you to search for RPGs. There are groups of RPGs that you can do online,
For this.
and you have the discords that you can enter it. And RPGs basically works as we have a story that we are going to make a campaign on this story, and you are going to practice your creative way of thinking. You have to create a new name for you, you have to create a new character for you, you have to create a new imagery for you, you have to do yourself from the scratch, like from the zero. I think it is amazing because it not only helps you to talk, because the campaigns, you need to talk a lot during the campaign to keep going on it. You are going to be creative. You're going to be put on situations because RPGs are really, really, really unpredictable.
Yeah,
And
it's funny because that was one of my ideas when I first started teaching. So about 9 years ago, uh, my first year teaching, I decided to conduct an RPG class, and
Wow.
I did that in Asufiba with high intermediate students, and it was a lot of fun. Like, it was really something out of the box at the time and something unexpected, but the students enjoyed a lot. And another thing that I did at that time was suggesting to do something like School of Rock, because one of the students was a musician. I said, "Okay, let's play something together." And then in the end, there was like a whole band in the classroom that
Oh,
joined
that's nice.
together and start playing Nirvana and the other students singing. And it was like if you give the students the spark, they can do really amazing things that even you wouldn't expect before trying to like, oh, give them the idea, you
Mhm.
know, just go there, try. If it works, perfect. If it doesn't work, then you have a backup plan. But it's really good
To try it.
to inspire people like
Mhm.
this or like that.
And also, another thing that RPGs can help us now during the pandemic is that we are stuck at home on the quarantine. And we have to take our mind away from everything that is happening around us. And an RPG can make this. An RPG can help us to think of something, can help us to avoid the problems just for that moment that we are together playing. And we are going to do it like on the RPG, and we are still practicing the languages, are still learning somehow, but without, and here another tons of oscars, we are still learning without studying, basically it, because we're having fun and we are doing this process. Okay, and another way of trying to practice your listening is playing close, and it's actually a meme because every single teacher has those sound speakers, and they are playing songs on the classroom. They are playing something for the students to listen and try to find online lyrics of songs that are with blank spaces, and just listen to songs, listen to the music, and try to fill the gaps. Then you can go online and search for the complete lyric and try to see if you are right or wrong. Okay?
Mhm.
All right.
Can I do my challenge now?
Yeah, we can do it. We can finish with your challenge because,
Perfect.
okay, let's go. Go there.
It's very simple actually. I'm gonna ask you to translate a little stuff, and not only you, but the people who are watching us. So
Okay.
the one thing that I want you to translate is in Portuguese, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
into Portuguese, I want you to give me the translation of water. How do you say that in Portuguese?
Certo? Oh,
Huh?
água. Certo?
Água. Okay. And what is the translation of água in Portuguese?
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. Take a
Líquido?
look at the help setting in your Alexa.
Oh, Google is going crazy.
Líquido? A
Huh?
liquid with a liquid that we need to survive?
Liquid. Hmm. I don't know. For me, the translation of water in Portuguese is mamão.
What? How?
Yeah, mamão. They are deeply connected, 100%.
Tell me how.
That's a question for our viewers. But I'm gonna make things a little bit easier. The
Okay.
translation of água and mamão in English is uh, bolo. So how do you connect água, mamão, and bolo in English and Portuguese?
All of them are things that we can somehow eat.
No, they are connected to expressions, to the way that we speak in our daily lives.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Actually, it's not a whole cake. It's just a piece.
Oh, piece of cake in mamão com açúcar.
Yes.
Oh, great.
And it's funny because I learned here in Bahia that when an exam was really easy, like when I first arrived here, I was 12 years old. People were saying like, "Oh, a prova foi água, meu."
Oh, yeah. So they're basically expressions to say that something is easy.
Yeah,
Okay, nice. I never thought like that.
it's funny because when you see the words without context, without the expressions around it, these connections they are not that clear. They are like in the backseat of your brain. But when you put a little bit more of words into it, then they suddenly pop up. So that's the kind of exercise that you have to keep on doing to become fluent. You have to allow those things that are on the background to just pop up without too much effort.
Okay, that's nice. So
Do you want more
everybody,
challenges?
Hmm?
Do you want more challenges?
let's do one more.
Okay. Now let's try the one we discussed before.
Okay, the
Let me see if
allowed
I find it. Let's give it to
to the viewers.
to the people who are watching us.
So
Do
is
you remember?
everybody over there yet?
Yeah, there are 7 people. It's the one with in advance.
Okay.
I'm gonna write it over here. Advance. You get special bundle. So that's for you guys over there. How would you translate that? It's actually it was part of my job today. So I already translated it, but I spent like about 2-3 minutes thinking, okay, how can I make this thing that I understand into a sentence that sounds natural in Portuguese? Because sometimes it's not just about understanding the idea, it's actually understanding the idea and expressing it into a way that sounds familiar to people from your language. So how would you do that in Portuguese?
Come on, guys. Basically, I already did it. I did it with hand.
He would be cheating if he tried it. So
Yeah.
it's for you guys in the chat.
Come on, Dan. You can try it too.
Yeah, feel free to try it, Daniel.
Okay. It seems like no one's trying.
Not a problem then. I'm gonna
Okay.
uh,
Try, Dan. Come on.
you're acting like you shouldn't be. That's the problem of most people. Like they are like, oh, I'm gonna embarrass myself. Don't. Everybody is here to learn. So feel free to make mistakes. It's actually fun. But In the meantime, I'm gonna try to show another thing in the chat. So you remember
Okay.
the thing I talked about aloud,
Uh-huh.
how it doesn't have a translation.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it has, because when you have aloud, the most immediate meaning you get would be like in voz alta.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an adverb, you get the idea, but there is no voice over there. So uh, when you get a sentence like the, the band was playing aloud, it's not a banda estava tocando em voz alta, because it doesn't make sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? And at the same time, it's not alto, because alto would be loudly, and it's a different adjective, a different adverb in that case. So in this case specifically, the definition of loud is something that you're able to listen to. It doesn't need to be really loud. It doesn't need to be shouting. Although there is an expression like crying out loud that can incorporate, because out loud is the same as aloud,
Mm-hmm.
and incorporates it. And there is one very common expression that we use it all the time on the internet, at least. That is the famous LOL, not League of Legends in this case, but laughing out
Overall.
loud.
Okay. Uh, Tell them how they translate the band was playing aloud.
Wait, wait. The thing about laughing out loud is that it's not necessarily about laughing in a high pitched manner, but it's more like laughing in a way that is visible, that you can't hide, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put that into the other sentence, the idea of, oh, they are playing and they can't hide the sound anymore, then you can translate this idea and not the words by themselves. So you can say something like a banda estava tocando para valer, because the show has already beginning. They had passed the initial stages, the rehearse and stuff, the part of preparing the instruments. So para valer in this case work to pass this idea of uh, playing aloud, playing in a way that people can hear already. Although it
Okay.
modifies the sentence a little bit. So the thing about translation is that most of the time it's not something exact. It's something like it's a balance of incorporating new meanings or mediating different meanings, and at the same time making it sound either more natural when you're going for a domesticated approach, or even more foreigner, like when you want to introduce people to a new concept or a word that an idea that only happens in that particular way in the other language. It's kind of like people translating saudade in English.
To miss you.
Yeah, like you have ways of expressing that, but when you get saudade as a noun, okay, it's not it's not the same thing anymore. It's like you don't have the misses, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The misses would be like an expression that I am creating myself, even though I'm not a foreigner speaker. But there probably is a way of expressing that feeling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different from saudades as a noun.
Alright. Gente, no caso, a gente precisa ir fechando aqui.
É.
Tá.
Acho que
Último.
vai ficar a tua tradução mesmo. Mostrei pra eles como é que você traduziu.
No caso, a minha, a
Escreve
primeira
lá.
que eu fiz. A primeira que eu fiz foi. Foi um ponto que eu coloquei no Face, não foi? Antes, mas antes. Mas antes haverá um. When we were talking on Facebook, I translated like this.
Uhum.
And so, Rafa, tell us, how would you translate this?
Curiosamente, esse em advance, a gente consegue entender a ideia de, tipo, antecipadamente, antes, certo? Mas você não consegue, tipo, ó, antecipadamente você recebe um bônus especial. Tipo, a sentença não soa muito natural, principalmente dentro do texto que ela tava. E, tipo, essa frase não tava sozinha. Ela tava com uma sequência, um estilo de dizer as coisas. Então, para conseguir traduzir isso de uma forma mais natural, eu joguei, tipo, uma palavra que não estava ali, mas que se encaixa para transmitir essa ideia. Então, coloquei como recompensa antecipada, você recebe o pacote especial.
Basically, I'm sorry, another way of practicing and trying to find new meanings and to bond with the language. So,
E a coisa curiosa é que, tipo, na hora de traduzir, às vezes, tipo, a gente quer ser bastante criativo, mas, tipo, bundle, por exemplo, é uma palavra que já está na memória de tradução como pacote. E já está disseminado entre as várias traduções de jogos que aquilo é pacote. Mesmo que seja um bônus, entendeu?
uhum.
Então, é aquilo que eu falei. Você tem que equilibrar criatividade com tradição. Com o que já existe e o que é adicionado. Acho que uma das coisas mais divertidas que eu já traduzi uma vez foi um negócio que tinha um bolo, tal. Não sei se era piece of cake ou alguma coisa do tipo, mas que eu não podia traduzir a expressão porque o bolo aparecia no jogo. Então, eu não podia simplesmente dizer, mamão com açúcar, porque tinha um bolo no jogo. Tava lá, visualmente, a porra do bolo. Eu ficava tipo, véi, não dá pra dizer muito fácil, porque também não faz sentido, já que o bolo aparece. Então, diante disso, eu fiquei assim, tipo, que bolo e fácil tem a ver? Bolo pronto. Eu coloquei fácil como bolo pronto.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Aí, esse tipo de coisa que, tipo, quem é tradutor fica, basicamente, quando lida com processos criativos e tal. Produção técnica, não tanto. E técnico, você tem que, tipo, adaptar a terminologia e tal, processo mais mecânico. Mas parte visual, etc., a depender da função que tu estiver exercendo, essa parte da criatividade, ela é muito puxada. Teve uma época que eu trabalhei para uma empresa que produzia títulos para Netflix. Então, tipo, a gente tinha que pegar o título em inglês e daí sugerir 5, 6, 7 títulos diferentes para Netflix, para daí eles verem, gostamos desse daqui, não gostamos desse daqui, esse daqui tem essa relação, tal. Teve até um título muito bom que a gente fez, tal, para uma série, só que eles acabaram, tipo, não, esse título é muito esotérico, tal, aí não foi aceito. Inclusive, eu nem sei se a série foi produzida ainda, então eu ainda não posso falar dela.
Okay.
Mas,
Copyright.
tipo, você assina uns negócios chamados de NDA, então você não pode falar absolutamente nada sobre o roteiro que você leu, o que vai acontecer, etc. Mas é divertido. É
But
tipo,
as a translator,
pra
you
quem
have
gosta
to
de
be like,
spoiler, é um prato cheio.
yeah, like you keep it all the time. Like, okay, this is going to happen. I want to talk about this. I want to scream my lungs out because I hate this character, but I cannot do this. I felt that translating a little bit. Right. Okay, everybody. Now, to wrap up, the main tools and the main strategies that you can use for the autonomous learning. Okay, first one, try to find something that you can bond with. Okay, even if it is a very, very small concept or something that everybody's going to call a dumb meaning, if it works for you, go ahead, try to bond with it. Even if it is like makeup, if it is cooking, if it is taking care of your dog, if taking care of your cat, playing video games, go there, do this. If if it works for you, do you go, you know your way. And second, try to find tools to read. Okay, if you try to read a thick book, if you try to read a difficult author, if it doesn't work, don't stop trying. Just go and try to find another way. Try to read a child's book, try to read a short story. This is going to help you to improve your reading and to improve your lexicon. And by improve your lexicon, you can get there to the more difficult ones. All right. And the one up to practice your listening and your speaking. First, try to find an RPG group that plays on Discord and go there. You're not only going to practice your speaking and your listening, you're going to also practice your creative way of thinking, okay? And also, it's going to help you to avoid thinking on the pandemic and on the quarantine and how you cannot stand the quarantine anymore. The last ones is if you want to go on a more traditional way of learning, try to go on Kahoot and find the open questions, the open quizzes that they have there, and they are free to do. Okay, so something free that you can do for learn. And the other one, there's not that much of a traditional way, is going on Gartic and try to play on the foreigner servers, on the American one, the British one, the Australian one, so you can learn new words and try to get the concepts. And the one that Rafa brought, the translation ones, is try to get the words on different and on the most singular ways that you can. Like you can take the word cake. Okay, how can I work with cake? You have the cake meaning bolo, you have cake meaning foi fácil demais. You have a lot of ways to work with this word. Try to at least one day in a week get a word and see what it can be turned into. And the other one, try to do flashcards, okay? So try to do a little jogo da memória by yourself and try to match and keep you doing this so you can keep practicing your already known vocabulary so you don't lose it, but you stop thinking about it because you already have the concept internalized. Okay, everybody. So it
And
was
one
nice.
more thing, if you guys are feeling really adventurous, okay, try to learn Python as well. It's a lot of fun. Programming is like, it's my new hobby, basically. Uh, é divertido porque, tipo, eu consegui criar já, tô aprendendo há poucos meses, mas eu consegui criar vários scripts já, tipo, um negocinho que pega a música que eu tô ouvindo e joga pro navegador e daí abre o vídeo no YouTube, tipo, só clicando um único botão. E eu mudei esse negocinho para também me mostrar a letra da música. Então, tipo, quando eu tô estudando italiano, alemão, alguma outra coisa, eu simplesmente tô ouvindo a música, aperto o botão, a letra surge, e daí, tipo, já surge na pesquisa do Google. Então, eu consigo clicar em cada palavra e ver o significado sem perder muito tempo. A grande ideia dessas ferramentas que a gente está apresentando hoje para vocês é, tipo, economizar o tempo e evitar a frustração. Então, tipo, não tentem ficar se prendendo assim, eu tenho que fazer tal coisa de tal jeito e tal. Vai experimentando, ver o que que te economiza tempo e o que que você consegue, tipo, se divertir no processo, que é o mais importante. Eu acho
Yeah.
que por hoje tá bom, né? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of time already, so
Yeah.
I'm
So
like adapting
everybody,
folks. Se
uh,
bem que,
that's
por mim, eu passava o dia todo falando das automações aqui. Que é, tipo, a coisa mais divertida da minha quarentena. Ficar modificando luzinha colorida, esse negócio e tal.
maybe
Mas aí já é
another
another
topic.
topic.
Yeah. So everybody, and one little spoiler. I might be going back here with another teacher of Nepal, okay? Amanda, I think you already know her, Amanda Alves. And she, like me, is a gaming addict, okay? So we are going to talk how you can use English how you can use video games, to learn English and thinking it as a literary tool, like thinking about the game as it was a book that you are going through by playing it. Okay? So hope to see you soon here, okay? And I hope you enjoyed it. And you are going in hope that you start using those tools that we brought here to start learning in a autonomous way during the quarantine, and you can improve your experience with the language. Okay? So see you guys.
See ya. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
So then, I think that's it.